everyone to episode number 1 of Black Ops 3 Zombies Tips and Tutorials. Within this episode, we're going to be taking a look at how to enable Pack-a-Punch here on Shadows of Evil. So right when you start off in a match, either buy this door yourself, or if you have a teammate with you, have him or her buy it. Once you go into beast mode, you want to destroy this crate to gain access to the summoning key. Run straight over here, activate that first switch, grapple up here on the staircase and come into this room and make sure that you're quickly moving over to this area to activate the switch in order to enable the staircase. This will allow you to gain access to the first item that you need, the lawyer's pen. Once you come back into human mode, run over here and pick up the first item. I come into free roams to show you guys exactly where it is, but do make sure that you enable that first switch as you guys saw.
I never did get to sign that movie contract.
Once you pick up the lawyer's pen, you will of course spawn in demon-like creatures, which are very simple to kill depending on what round you're actually on. So if you're on round 1, it'll take 1 knife to kill them. If you're on round 2, it'll take 2 knives, so on and so forth. But once you're done with that, what you want to do is come upstairs and place the lawyer's pen there on the table using the summoning key. Very simple. Once you do that, the ritual will then be activated and access to this room will be locked, so you're stuck in here until you complete the ritual. Again, the earlier you do this, the better, and hopefully you don't have a lot of zombies in this room with you, just to make the process easier. Once the ritual is complete, you can then pick up the first gate worm. Those are key to enabling Pack-a-Punch. But next up, as we move into the Footlight District, we then have to acquire the second item, which is the hairpiece. Go into beast mode and grapple directly up here, followed by activating this switch to enabling the staircase. Also activate whatever perk is present at that location. What you then want to do is jump over to this balcony and hit that box so that it can fall to the ground and you can then acquire the hairpiece. If you have extra time, also make sure that you destroy any boxes or unlock any doors that may be accessible in that area. But as we all know, here on Shadows of Evil, each section of the map is designated for each specific character. So for example, the hairpiece is going to go towards the nightclub, which is for our female character. We also have our boxing arena for our character played by Ron Perlman, so on and so forth. So once you've killed the demons, what you want to do is open the gate leading into this area and go into beast mode once again so that you can activate the door leading into the nightclub. The easiest way to do this is of course by coming directly upstairs all the way up to the balcony and grappling behind the sign there, as you can see, and you can then activate the switch, which will activate the door, come back into human mode and get ready to start the next ritual. But as I've said before, Shadows of Evil is definitely the most complex zombie map of all time. As I said in my zombies review, this is definitely not a zombie map which you can just come on and play and chill with your friends. If you play this map, you have to be ready to complete rituals, get your buildables done, and hopefully complete steps for the Easter egg. This is not a map that you can just say, I'm just going to play and survive tonight. Once you finish that ritual, pick up that gate worm, and be aware that you will spawn a Margwa, so be expecting some crazy gameplay against that enemy. Moving on to the Canal District, which is a very large section here on the map. I would recommend doing this at least before round 5 just to be safe, but the first thing you want to do here is open up that gate and then go into beast mode in order to enable the staircase leading up to that tower. Grapple up here, come here inside and go all the way downstairs until you see this switch here on the side. So you could possibly have enough time to go and acquire the item as well, but if you don't, just go into beast mode again or wait till the next round. Come down here into the flooded area, swipe that door once, swipe this gate once, and then move over to another area here in the flooded section in order to activate a switch. Once you activate this switch, it will then open up that gate so you can go and pick up the police badge. But another thing I wanted to quickly bring up was how I feel I may have maybe over 50 or 60 episodes of this miniseries by time we are completed with DLC 4. Within Black Ops 2, I believe I did around 40 to 50 episodes for this miniseries, and there was a lot to cover on Die Rise, Mob of the Dead, Buried, and Origins, as well as Transit. So the fact that Shadows of Evil is the most complex map just means that I can probably have maybe up to 15 episodes of just covering simple principles here on this map. Once you've completed the ritual and once you've picked up the gate worm, you can then move on to the Waterfront District, which contains contains an insanely cool item and is also the fourth and final item known as the championship belt. Once you get a chance, go into beast mode, grapple up to this balcony and swipe that box just once, just as we did with the hairpiece. Once you swipe the box, you can then go and pick up the championship belt. The next step is quickly coming over here and cracking open that door, which leads to the boxing ring. The boxing ring is where you're going to complete the fourth and final ritual. So another thing I wanted to bring up was why this process takes so long. So if you're playing on solo, you can obviously pick up all of the gate worms right when you're able to, but if you're playing on co-op, even if it's with one other person, you can only pick up one gate worm at a time, which obviously drags out this entire process. So let's say all 4 gate worms are available, but there's only 2 of you. You have to go and place those gate worms down in the secret room before coming back up and getting the other 2. But you'll see what I mean in a second if that sounds confusing. Once you come over to the boxing ring, finish completing the ritual, and once you're done with that, you will be awarded the 4th and final gate worm. Also expect a Margot to spawn, as they could appear at any given time after completing each of these rituals, so be on the lookout for them. For the next step, which is actually placing down these gate worms, what you want to do is choose a rift. It could be any of the rifts located here on the map. I've gone into free roam just to show you all the rift locations here on Shadows of Evil, but as you guys might have saw earlier, when I was in beast mode, if I had a little bit of extra time, I went down into each of the areas and swiped down those doors, which led to a rift. Once you swipe down those doors leading to a rift, you can then press square in front of that rift to activate it. Keep in mind that there is a rift located in every district which you've already been to collect our items, so they're not very hard to find at all, but just make sure that when you're in beast mode, you of course take a little bit of time to go and swipe down those doors. But once you've selected a rift to actually go into, you can then enter the secret room in which you'll be greeted by a couple of demon creatures. At this point in the match, if you're on round 6 or 7, I would recommend having some type of decent weapon which you could have got from the wall or from the mystery box, just to ensure that all this isn't completed for nothing. But once you've done that, walk over to this brick wall, and the brick wall will disappear if you've completed all of the rituals. If you haven't completed all the rituals, that brick wall will not open. Now here comes the easy part of activating Pack-a-Punch.
Complete the ritual. The gateworm's energy must be released.
Each gateworm can be placed in any of the 4 holders that are located here in this room, but as I said earlier, if you're playing on solo, you can do it all in one shot, but if you're on co-op, you're going to have to do each gateworm one by one, depending on the amount of players that are in the match.
I'm glad to be rid of this thing.
You all sure this is a good idea?
Once each gateworm is placed down in a holder is when you can activate the bonus ritual, which will end off this entire process, and once you complete it, you could then gain access to Pack-a-Punch itself. But let me know in the comment section what you guys think regarding the complexity of all of these steps just to activate Pack-a-Punch. I personally feel this is the hardest Pack-a-Punch tutorial of all time. But in the end, this has been dkdynamite. Stay tuned in for some more episodes of Zombies Tips and Tutorials. Hope you found this helpful.
Well, at least we got a new toy to play with.